Good afternoon, everybody. This is Andrew Johnson with Elevating Men, bringing you another podcast with another great guest. I'm very excited to have this conversation today. I got a brother with me who has a business that I think we all need to get behind and support. I have Mr. Roy Scott, the founder of Healthy Hip Hop. How you doing today, sir?
Oh man, blessed by the best. You already know. How about yourself?
Most definitely. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I wish it quit raining. It's been raining all week, so it's killing my outdoor plans. But
Yeah,
outside of that, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
straight up.
So, for the people who don't know who you are, they've never heard of Healthy Hip Hop. What is it?
Healthy hip hop is an urban Disney. That's what we're building. We're building an iconic children's brand. So what we do is take the urban hip hop beat and then put a positive message over it for kids that's focused around education and health and wellness. And we found success with using that as a learning tool to improve focus and engagement and behavior. We all know that hip hop is the most influential and most consumed genre in the world. Just a lot of it's not geared towards children and families. And so that's where healthy hip hop comes and fills that gap. The only difference is we are culturally relevant. It's not watered down. And this is for the children, for the culture. So we're transforming a generation through infusing hip hop culture with innovative technology, education, and positive attributes.
That's beautiful. So, how long have you been at this? How long has Healthy Hip Hop been around?
I've been at this actually since 2010 officially. The tech side, and we'll kind of get to that. We pivoted to the tech side, so we built a platform that you can think of as a Spotify meets TikTok, but for children and families. And we pivoted to the tech side in like 2018. So we've been on the tech side of things for about 3 years, but been building the business for a little bit over 10 years now, and just it's been an incredible journey.
It's beautiful, man. So, when I was, doing a little research before our interview, man, you've been all over the place. I saw you in Startland news and tech news. I even saw that at one point you auditioned for Shark Tank. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a great experience. It was good and bad in some respects. So this was about 2015. At that point, we hadn't made the pivot to the tech yet. So we knew big picture again. We wanted to be this. Our goal is to become an iconic children's brand. So we started diversifying what we were doing. So it was more the music. We started doing live events, and then it pivoted to curriculum. We did a children's television pilot. So we filmed a whole 30-minute pilot. And during that process is when we really started doing some research on, okay, how are we going to go raise some capital so we can, grow the business.
Right.
And during that time, obviously a lot of people know about Shark Tank. I was a fan of Shark Tank. And so I said, man, let's apply for Shark Tank. There was two ways. There was either you can submit an email submission, and they said, they rarely respond to that, or you can actually do like a casting call in person. So at that time, they had a casting call coming up in Houston, but I sent the email, and I told my my business guy at the time, like, listen, if they don't respond to the email, we'll go to Houston. And so we were fortunate that they responded to the email. They like what we were doing, and we started the process. So fast forward, made it all the way to get to the Sony Pictures studio in California, and to actually film our episode. So we filmed the episode, closed the deal with Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, one of the hardest sharks to close. It was a $500,000 investment. Well, only to have our episode blocked from airing and our deal pulled off the table because ABC, the network that Shark Tank comes on, is owned by Disney, and they looked at our children's programming as competition. So welcome to Hollywood is what we were told. So yeah, so the best and worst validation. It's like, Disney sees you as a threat, so you're onto something. But we lost our deal, and more importantly, we lost the national exposure because at that time they were averaging about 7 million viewers. So that was 7 million new viewers on our business, which was now, thrown in the trash can. And that's when, ironically enough, also, Walt Disney is from, our hometown of Kansas City, and
right.
So basically, at that point, I was depressed. I was like, man, what's the next move for us? You're talking about mountain high to valley low. It's like, we about to be on, 7 million plus viewers. The floodgate is about to be busted open to boom, slam dunked in the trash can. And so that's when we made the pivot to the tech space. I was researching, really doing some customer discovery, seeing how teachers were using healthy hip hop, seeing how parents were using healthy hip hop. And then I was also paying attention to what was going on in business in every industry. Whoever was creating the innovative technology, they were scaling their company. And so we made the pivot for an online platform for educators and a mobile application for parents and their kids. So made that pivot around that time. And like I said, I was depressed about that time. And it was crazy how it all worked out is I was flipping through Netflix. I didn't get off my couch for about a week after I got that news.
Yeah.
And I seen a episode, a movie at the time called Walt Before Mickey. And it talked about Walt Disney's entrepreneurial journey and how he had similar moments where he got rejected, but he stayed resilient. And he actually moved Disney from Kansas City to LA, to build it to what it is today. And we're taking it from Kansas City to the A. So we now are in Atlanta to really build healthy hip hop, to become an urban Disney. So it's crazy, how almost like his history repeating itself.
Right.
And, and I can smile about it now. At the time we were really hurt, but at the end of the day, it's just business. And so the goal now is to build this business up, continue, I've been learning. It's forced me to learn. It's stretched me. It's really refined me as an entrepreneur and as just overall just a person. And so now as we get prepared to launch and really take this thing to the next level, Disney will come back to the table, with the exit check to buy us out. So that's the next goal.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Well, anything that we can do to support, we're definitely going to do that. I saw that you're in a funding round now. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit and, what people can do to support?
Yeah, sure. So we actually have a Republic campaign, and I'm going to put it in your chat. You can share it if you like. There's a Republic campaign. And so what Republic is it's a new thing. It's been around for about 5 years or so, but it's called Reg CF, and it's just starting to pick up steam. And that just stands for regulated crowdfunding. And so essentially you can, build a community of people who, support you, who want to, be a part of what you're doing. But now it's a little bit different. See, on this campaign, usually on a crowdfund, like it's reward based. So you might, put some money in and you'll get, like a reward incentive. On this campaign, when you can invest starting at $100 and you actually get shares in the company, shares in an early stage tech company. And so that's the unique part about this is because especially, in underserved communities, we really don't know a whole bunch about like, raising capital, VC, angel investing, the whole tech space. And so that's what I've been really on a crash course on that over the last 5 years, learning that, getting a deeper understanding for that. And this is a unique opportunity where I get to share that, with everyday people. So everyday people can now become VC. They can become angel investors, and they can become not only, again, supporting as a customer, but now starting at $100, you can actually have shares in an early stage tech company. So think about if you had the opportunity to invest in Disney when they were on the ground level. Right now that would be something very sizable for you. And that's the opportunity we want to give to like build community, let people know that, hey, look, this is your opportunity to really be a part of this grassroots movement from the beginning and grow with us, not only as a customer, but as a shareholder.
That's a beautiful opportunity, for those that don't understand, to get in on the ground floor of a company that has such large potential over the long term. You usually have to have, a couple 100,000 as an accredited investor to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. So to be able to buy shares at $100 is a great opportunity. And not only do you have a good opportunity to create a nice investment for yourself for the future, you also are investing in something that really matters, because I do believe that music is very powerful. I was actually interviewing Omar Bradley. He was the former mayor of Compton, California, during the time that Tupac and Suge Knight and that whole situation was going on there. And during our interview, he actually mentioned how he felt that the music was the catalyst for all of it.
Right.
The words in the music kind of kicked off a lot of violence in the community, made it hard to stabilize things, because no matter what you would do on the streets to stabilize things, that music was still kind of kicking the message around, and people were acting on it. And so can you tell me, what was your aha moment, when it comes to music, and specifically how it affects children, and what caused you to get this started?
For sure. So, I mean, I'm 100% in agreement with what you were just talking about, and with the mayor in Compton, because music, it played that role on me, especially hip hop music. So as a kid, I was really influenced by the culture. I didn't really have a lot of guidance around me. I didn't understand the importance of education. So, the music was guiding me. There was other factors, but the music was a big player in like driving what I wanted to be. So I was listening, especially from Kansas City, we listen kind of to like underground Bay Area music a lot. So, like Brother Lynch Hungs and Seabos. I was really just like some dark kind of like gangster hip hop music that really I wanted to emulate that. So I wanted to be in the streets. I wanted to, that's what we thought was cool. That's what we thought was up. We talked about the power of music. So saying all that to say, I came out of high school, had an opportunity to play Division I basketball on a scholarship. And I was like, no, skip all that. I want to be a rapper. Because at the time I had just connected with Diamond Shields, God rest his soul. Diamond Shields is the gentleman who founded Midwest Side Records. And so Tech Nine was on Midwest Side. Like that's when he first, those were the first, all his original music, like Calm Before the Storm, Mitch Bay, all that type of stuff was with Diamond. And so, I'm in with them. And in KC, it's not a whole bunch of activity in KC, but in KC, that was the top of the top. Like you rocking with the best in the game. And so I was like, I'm about to be with Diamond. Like Diamond's the money, man. We out here.
So you said you're ready to go. You're ready to blow.
Yeah, we're ready to get to it. And so anyway, started that career path of trying to be this, hip hop artist, rap artist in KC, this gangster rap artist. Mac James is what I went by, back in the day. I had already, actually, right when I came out of high school, I had dropped my own music independently. I'm dating myself, but that's when I was doing CDs. So I was, I was Master P with it out the trunk. That was my hustle.
Right.
Flipping the CDs. And so hooked up with Diamond, started that path. And then, years later, I had my wake up call. My aha moment, as you just stated, is when I was picking up my son Justice from school. And so Justice, he was about 4 years old at the time. I picked him up. He was like 3 or 4. I picked him up from school. We were headed home, and I noticed him repeat my music word for word. He was just in the backseat just getting it. And I just looked at him, and I was like, wow, and I just reflected on how music impacted me. And I was like, I'm not going to be this kind of influence on my son or anybody else. And then that's when I got to
commend you on that, man. I got to commend you on that. And the reason I say that, because there's a ton of artists that have children, right? And so for you to take something that you have been working on for a long time, had experienced certain levels of success, you saw a vision, you saw a future, you saw where you could go with it, and for you to halt that, to say, wait a minute, I'm affecting the next generation in a negative way, is a very strong move, because others know that. I think we all know that when it comes down to it, but it's a decision, it's a choice that you have to make. And it's a sacrifice. And so how were you able to do that? I know, you saw your son repeating the lyrics, it kind of hit you, but what made you say, I'm going to be different?
Yeah. Well, I think it was like, so of course, it actually ties into the overall message that I love music. I love hip hop, but I love my son more. You know what I'm saying? I love my love for my son is, what pushed me. I was like, you know what? This is what's more important. Is focusing on him and putting him in a better situation and making sure that he doesn't fall into some of the same traps, that I fell into, and that I can be the example that I did not have. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So really, ultimately, that's what hit my heart. That's what God used to really pull off my heartstrings to say, I'm done. So actually, first, I don't usually get too deep into the spiritual aspect of it when you talk about business, but it's definitely a deep spiritual and faith thing for me. So when I first seen my son on that, I was like, you know what? I'm done rapping, period. I'm just about to focus on my wife, my kids, my business. Working, like build my family. Like I don't care about nothing else. If it ain't about that. And so, and it was challenging because a lot of folks were like, dang, what's up, Mac? Like you done? Like you done rapping?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, how did your friends in your circle, how did they react to that?
Well, they didn't agree with it. They was like, "What you doing, kids rap?" Like, but this is actually before I even got to the kids rap. They was like, "Quit." They was like, "You just quitting?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro. Like, I'm done." And so I really just like cold turkey, like just had to remove myself from them environments, like hanging with the wrong folks, like being in the wrong environments throughout the city. Like I just cut it all off, and then I really committed to bettering myself. Getting strong in the Word of God, getting my faith stronger. And then as I did that, God gave the vision back to me. He gave the vision to me and he said it was for the kids. It's like, it's for the kids, and it was crazy. Once I gave it all up, he gave it back to me, but with direction, with purpose. And that's when I started around, like I said, 2010, and just was like, I'm sticking to it. I'm gonna stick to the script of doing healthy hip hop. And so that was the kind of the aha moment, and then the pivot. And then also like during that time when I came back doing like kids music, because first I wasn't even calling healthy hip hop. It didn't evolve to healthy hip hop till like 2012, so about 2 years in. But they was like, "You doing?" First of all, they was like, "The music is hard. Like this is like the music was dope, but it's for kids."
It really is. It is.
Yeah. But you doing like you doing like you're a kids rapper now, and I'm like,
right.
Call it what you want to. You know what I mean? This is what I'm on, and so people had to respect it because I was standing firm on it, and it sounded dope. It was sounding like what was in the streets, but again, it was all cleaned up. So that's kind of was his aha moment, the pivot moment, and just really committing to it and sticking to the vision. And 10 years later, even still seeing it through, like manifesting it, doing the work, sticking through hard times like the Shark Tank, debacle, and even and there's a whole bunch of other stuff like in on that path, and to where now finally I'm just feel so. I've always felt confident, but I'm like walking in my purpose. I'm walking in truth. I'm walking in integrity. Ain't no faking. Like everything I do is above board. I don't anything that I'm like, for example, like in the rap game, like the allure is that I'm talking this gangster. I'm talking this dope. I'm doing this and I'm living that. That is like a lot of folks aren't living it, and if you are, and if you are living it, what is it about? Like it ain't about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm done. I'm done glorifying things that are tearing down our women. I'm done glorifying things that are tearing down our community. That I'm done glorifying things that are not healthy, for our kids and for our own personal mind and heart. So now I get to really walk in truth, but still keep the swag, still be relevant to the culture, and do it the right way. We innovating and just like walking in our own lane. And like you said, you think it'd be common sense, like things somebody else will be doing. Ain't nobody doing it. We're just us. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful. See, one thing, man, I think people really don't take into account words and the power of words. And so just in the word music itself, the root word is muse, which is basically a spirit that enters you and it causes you to do certain things. And so when you think about, you're going to spend some time with your lady, you get, mood music, and that music gets you in a certain state of mind. When you're ready to work out or get hyped, there's a certain music for that. And so what do you say to people that say, hey, it's just music? If a child listens to something, regardless of the messaging in the music, they should be able to delineate and separate that, hey, that's just a song on the radio that has nothing to do with my life, and that's not the path that I should choose. What do you say to that?
Well, the thing I say is that, as a child is developing, even if they just enjoying the beat, kind of what you said, like the spiritual side of it, how it enters your spirit, like those words penetrate your mind, those words penetrate your heart, so that, it starts to, whatever you listen to, it starts to become you. Now you will have, and it just depends. Now, everybody's like maturity level is a little bit different. You may have some people that can, separate, like, okay, this is just entertainment. But then you also have people that cannot separate that, and they take this for face value. And you have a lot of people that are in, poverty-stricken communities, or they're in different tight spots to where like they look to this as like the holy grail, like this is what it is. Like I'm gonna go out here and do this. So it's definitely more than just music, and it's just like anything else. I look at it like you can make it parallel to like the food you eat, right? So with the food you put in you, that's going to determine, like if you eating a whole bunch of junk food, you potentially going to have some health problems. You're going to be put yourself in not a good position. But if you're eating healthier foods, if you're up and you're active, if you're not active and you're eating unhealthy food, you're going to display that, and how you think, speak, move, etc. And I think it's the same for music. The music that you put in you, like right now, I can't listen to this stuff. I still tap in just to keep up with the energy and the vibe of the streets, to know what's moving.
Right.
But I can't. My spirit just don't agree with. I can't listen to that because I'm not on that. I don't want to listen to nobody killing nobody or nobody like. And at one point, I was making that music. I was making that music, and that's so I identified it within myself. Like, what? I can't do that, and I can't even listen to it. What's it about? Like this. A dope beat is one thing, but all the other stuff. And again, I'm not knocking it because I understand the culture. And so even with healthy hip hop, it's not like we're saying we ain't messing with it. We're just saying, hey, listen, here's a positive alternative for your kids, children and families to still get a unique, authentic hip hop experience, but it's cleaned up and it's still, it's still dope, but you don't have to worry about anything, damaging for your kids' young minds.
Now, one thing that you said a couple times, and we all say it when it comes to our music and our TV shows, our choices for entertainment, we say the culture, right? One thing that I've never really understood, and I'm just really curious as to your opinion on this, being that you're so close to the music industry. When it comes to other cultures and you listen to their music, their mainstream is lighthearted, fun music. No matter what city you go to in America, that you've hit the black station when you start hearing, twerk this, twerk that, sell this, sell that, shoot, kill, murder. that's our culture. What I don't understand is, why is it that our what should be our underground music is our mainstream music? It's not that other cultures don't have that negative element
Yeah.
to their entertainment, but it's underground for them. For us, that's our mainstream. Do
Right.
you feel that that's like by design, or is there a
Absolutely.
conspiracy going on here? What's that all about?
Well, there's no conspiracy. It's just what it is. It's definitely by design. If you look at just the history, and this is probably a whole nother conversation, I'm just going to paraphrase this, but if you just look at the history of the United States, definitely there is systematic, issues and systematic things in place that specifically, are going to push certain narratives that are going to block you from certain opportunities. As you know, if you're talking about, I was having this conversation earlier with these operation folks on business side that I work with, is if you look at business, like historically, Black and brown and underserved communities have been blocked from, real estate, education,
Oh yeah,
and those are some of the key things to wealth. Like, so those things are still built into the system. Some has changed, so we're seeing some change, but a lot of that is deep rooted into like stuff that was baked in like from the beginning. And so the same with music. And a lot of people don't know this. I've been having this conversation actually recently a few times. You can Google some of the stuff. They try to bury a lot of it, but some of it's still out there. But there was a meeting that took place back in the late 80s, early 90s with the music execs and the prison execs, because what they were seeing is they were seeing how impactful hip hop music was on Black and brown communities. And so the prison execs and the music execs came together to specifically push forward a narrative of death, destruction, gangster, all this stuff, because they wanted to help improve that pipeline to prison, right? And so there's some more details on that you can go out there and search and look for, but there's definitely a science behind it. And
then we fall into the trap,
right.
We're a sucker for a good beat and some trouble,
That's it, yeah, right. But the thing is, but that's what I'm saying, like healthy hip hop, we still get the beat's still gonna be hard, but
right.
It gotta be nothing that's detrimental, to like. And again, I get it, you know what I mean? But I think it's even like one of my other business partners I'm talking about. It's like, if you think about, we will block our kids from like any, death, destruction stuff until hip hop, until some music come on. Like, oh, you know,
exactly, right.
So it's like, you don't want your kids watching, rated R, rated XX movies, but you can put them in front of it if they had stuff blurred out because the context is still there, right? So
right.
The same as with the music, but it's like I said, so easy to turn on and you can make a dance to it, and
exactly.
like for example, like that new stuff. I can't. I got kids. I be typing like the dude was doing his hands or whatever. Like in the song, the dude talking about shooting somebody's head off, like knocking their head off, like.
They put it to a kid beat and have the hardest messages. Put a dance to it.
I got my kids doing dance to shooting somebody's dreads off. All right, like nah, bro, I can't. Again, I'm not knocking them. I'm culture, but I'm just saying I can't submit to that. And what we want to do is provide a positive alternative.
So what kind of feedback have you gotten? Like, I know my children. So when I first connected with you, I rushed home. I'm like, hey, kids, listen to this. And so I turned it on. Immediately, they're dancing all over the place. They're a fan of yours, by the way. So if they saw you right now, they would flip out. Like, is that the PJ Panda guy? But we'll get into PJ Panda here in a minute. But they love you, bro. They love you. But the beats are hard. I was actually taking my daughter to school. We're listening to some of the music, and full transparency, because I'm a grown man, so like we're listening to Humpty Dumpty and these different things, and so I get her dropped off, and it's still playing. I didn't even notice. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like cruising through the streets or whatever, a grown man listening to Humpty Dumpty because the beats are killing, man. Like the music is it's beautiful. It's a good thing. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from parents, the teachers that are using the program? What's the feedback been like?
Everybody loves it. I mean, everybody's really been supportive of it. They really are getting behind it. And now we're just kind of, creating momentum, and it's just about getting more brand awareness, getting more exposure. And so that's why, having talks like this are important, and making these connections with people like yourself. Cause this is what it's about for me. Like, man, I can connect with another dad who's doing stuff with their kids and they can play. Like, that's where it really counts. And that's what this is about. So people have been really supportive of it and really getting behind it. And so now what I've been working on really is like the behind the scenes, like the business aspect. Like we talked about raising capital, like business processes, strategies, like all these different things. So now we're getting prepared to really take this thing to the next level, and also just being a bigger market. So again, love my city. I'm from KC, do a lot of work in KC. I got a whole bunch more of stuff coming up that I'm doing in the town. But just in Atlanta, it's just a bigger market, more opportunity, a lot more diverse money out there, a little bit more progressive. So I think Kansas City's on to come up with that, but just there's just more opportunity in Atlanta, and they're really getting behind this. So like some of our biggest investors, we got some big news coming up really soon. Our biggest investors are out of Atlanta, and just we're going to create this whole wave. You know what I mean? That is going to be coming out the A and just kind of disseminate. So that's what I've really been doing. But we've been getting a lot of good feedback.
This is a good time to plug this. So for those of you who are just tuning in, this is Mr. Roy Scott. He's the CEO of Healthy Hip Hop, which is an alternative to the music that our children hear on mainstream radio. It's filled with a lot of positive messages, about health, getting good grades and the things that we want them to do. And so we definitely want to get behind them. How can we support, and where can they find the music?
Yeah, so you can, first of all, download the app. So the Healthy Hip Hop app right now is still free. We're always going to have a free version, but this new iteration that's going to come is going to have a free version, like kind of a more premium version. So download it right now. The music is free on Healthy. Just search Healthy Hip Hop, 3 words, in the App Store. So you can download the app. We're also on YouTube. Search Healthy Hip Hop. You get a lot of music there also as well. But then also in regards to really being a part, like we talked about earlier, our fundraising campaign, excuse me. I think you put the link in the chat, but we're on Republic, and we're giving everyday people the opportunity to have early shares in an early stage company, so they can be a part of this as it grows, and eventually see a return on that investment as we do become an urban Disney and exit and take this to the next level.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So here at Elevating Men, our whole mission is to rebuild men so that they can be better for their families, and in turn, we can create better communities. And so that's our whole goal here. And we've had a wide range of interviews from, social workers, big brothers, big sisters, like I said, the mayor of Compton, California, and several others. The plan here is for us, through these conversations, to be able to create a plan that's actually going to affect change within our community. And so we have some things that we're working on behind the scenes. Like I shared with you, we have the Men and Boys Day at the park. That's going to be coming up August 7th. And so we're going to get a bunch of men and boys together and just really start changing the whole narrative. And so with you, being a father, being a man yourself, how important do you feel that the role of a father is to the upbringing of a child?
I think it's critical. I mean, I think both, mother and father both play a critical role, and it's imperative that there's a healthy relationship there, with their dads, because like even for me, for example, like ever since I can remember, like I always looked up to my dad and wanted to do what he was doing. Now, of course, some of the stuff he was doing, that I was looking up to, he was, I can't, no judgment, as an adult, I can understand some things, and we just, we agree to disagree on some stuff, but I think it's critical, man, to have that father figure in the home, to show love, to show compassion, to show discipline, to even show how to, love like their mother or their wives, the right way, to show how just to show how, the direction that you need to be going in life, and really be the example. So it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to, be present and to be actively living it. And so I think, man, it's paramount. And I think that's why you see a lot of the challenges and a lot of the trauma, a lot of childhood trauma that kids have, and now that adults have now, is because a lack of father figures in the household, and specifically, obviously, in underrepresented communities. I think a lot of that's changing, because there's a lot of men like yourself, like powerful, Black men that are in the home. So this, like you said, with the dispelling the whole thing, because a lot of the stuff is what the media is kicking. There are a lot of amazing Black and brown dads in the home,
absolutely
changing the narrative, because a lot of the stuff we experience. So let's be clear on that. That's actually, that change is happening as we speak. But definitely want to encourage, men just to, be present, even if you're not with the mom, whatever it is. It's important, because that childhood trauma, as kids grow up, not having fathers, and it ends up playing out, as you get older. Like you have these feelings and you have these issues because of a lack of a father in the household, and even a lack of a mother. It goes either way. It's really important.
I feel like one of the big issues is really not having that role model that's there with you constantly. It's one thing when you see, a positive person from afar, but having that everyday role model is important. And when you can't get that, having some sort of substitute, whether it's other men in the community, men at church, whatever it is, I believe that man is really, really important, and also for guidance. And so when we were talking about how susceptible our young men are to the messages of music, I believe because there's not a different message there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Even with mine, like my pops, I didn't have a lot of guidance. So what was I doing? Like I said, I was into the music, and to piggyback on what you're saying too. No, I agree 100%. I forgot what I was about to say, but I had a point based on. Can you repeat what you just said? I'm sorry.
Just talking about the music, we kind of go to the music for our messages because there isn't a message that we're already being.
Oh no. Okay, I know the point I was going to make is that. Like you said, it's good to have role models, people from afar, and it's good, but there's something just genetically, like in your DNA, that you want to be close to your dad. You want to be close to your mom. So there's something that just is like instinct, intuitive, that you want to have a strong relationship with your parents. You'll experience that. So it's good to have other father figures because that can still be an extreme help, and we still want other men to surround our young men who don't. But you're always going to face that challenge, like when it's like it's not your dad. Like you're like, man, well, you got those questions, and until you mature. It took me till about the age of 30 till I really was like, I'll be 40 this summer. So it took me to the age of 30 to really like come to grips, like like how me and my dad's relationship and what it is and what it's going to be. It took the age of 30, like till I really like was, this is what it is. I'm gonna have to just accept what it is and move accordingly. Because I always like, I wanted to be super close. I want to be super close to my guy, like but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's something I think just instinctively, and just genetically, like you want to be close to your parents. You know what I mean?
Right, definitely. I love what you're doing because it's an action step. In our communities, we talk too much. We have a lot of conversation about the problems. A lot of our conversations are regressive. We're always talking about the past and way back when and what was done to us in slavery. And although it's good to have that history for context, because if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. I think we focus on that too much. And so I really want to commend you for being a forward thinker and thinking about solutions. And so one thing that we're doing at Elevating Men, we have a few principles that we're trying to really get out to young men in mass. And we really believe that it'll affect change in the community long term. So I want to run that by you because I know that your program, you have it in the schools, you're targeting children. And so I want to know what you think on this. So one that we have, it's called the 4 quarters of life. So I feel that most young men really have no perception of time and how they should be living based on their age. Right. We see a lot of men in their 40s that, they think they're 20. You know what I mean? And then we've got, teenagers who are trying to live the life of a 40-year-old, trying to take on too much responsibility and things like that. And so this is how the 4 quarters break down, because our average life expectancy is around 80 years old. And so we say from age, 0 to 20, that's like your discovery phase, and it's controlled because you can't make all of your decisions for yourself. You can't buy liquor. There's a lot you can't do. But we say during that time frame, you should absorb as much as you can, experience as much as you can, so that you know about yourself, you found out who you are, and you know what you like, your dislikes, and you figure all of that out early, right? In the second quarter, ages 20 to 40, we just recommend that you focus 100% on building yourself financially, because if you're eventually going to be the head of a household, you have to build some sort of foundation. There's too many families that end up breaking later on down the line because there was no foundation set. There was a broken man trying to build a house, and it just doesn't work. And so 20 to 40, you're focused on your income, you're focused on your purpose, and you're building up that foundation for your eventual family. We also, you mentioned the age of 30. It took until about 30 for the light bulb to come on in a lot of areas of your life. Same with me, and the same with most men. And so the other thing we suggest is that you wait until you're 30 to even start building a family. Right. It's going to be that rare instance where you catch a 22, 23-year-old man who's ready to lead a family. Right. And so you take that time at 30. if you do everything right from 20 to 40, from 40 to 60, it's time to move towards your purpose and like community driven focus, something like what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Really just kind of giving back to the next generation and setting them up for success. You do that correctly, then that last quarter, you're just sitting back, you're reaping the benefits. You got people coming up to you, hey, Mr. Scott, I remember when I used to listen to this, and you're able to enjoy, the fruits of your labor.
Straight
That's
up.
one principle. The second one is SWAG, which is an acronym. And so SWAG, it stands for system, wealth, appeal, and growth. And there's a few interchangeable words that we use, but that's the basis of it.
Okay.
The system portion is to say that every man has to have some sort of system for their success. So for you to build the business that you have, for you to get on Shark Tank and be featured in all these publications, you have a system to be the man that you are. You got a certain time that you probably wake up every day. You've got a routine that you do day by day, week by week, that ensures your success. And so we want to teach boys to have systems, because I believe a lot of young men just drift.
Yeah.
You wake up every day, you have no sense of purpose. That's why you see so many young men just standing on the porch half the day, standing on the corner with absolutely no purpose, because they don't have a system.
Right.
The W is for wealth building and work ethic, which is one thing that we also feel is lost in our communities, is men that are willing to work hard and focus. Also, if you're going to build a family, you have to have that financial stability. Then we have our appeal portion, which is the way that you carry yourself, the way that you interact with others, and then your growth and spiritual grounding. We feel those things are important. And so those are a couple of the principles that we're looking to teach young men. From your perspective, how are we doing as far as the messaging? And is there anything that you would add or interchange with that?
Yeah, I like it. I would definitely like to dig a little bit more, but on the surface level, I would say I would like to start reaching men earlier, young men earlier, as far as like teaching about financial like literacy, and like, because if you can start at the age like at age 10, like because here's the thing too, I was talking about this earlier, like right now with what's happening in technology, this is the closest in the world history we've ever been to equal opportunity, and when it comes to building wealth, because historically, we kind of talked about this earlier, historically, wealth building is going to be from real estate, education, a lot of things we were blocked access from.
Right.
Is based on natural resources, et cetera, being born into a wealthy family, which a lot of the time just didn't happen. Right now with technology, you can have a laptop and internet, and you can build $1 million business in your basement. You know what I mean? So
That's
like,
real. Yeah.
Getting these kids up, because and this new generation of kid, this is the first generation of fully native internet device using kids, right? So I think it's imperative that they know. You probably know some 2-year-olds that can whip an iPad better than you right now. They can just go with you, be like, what's that? Like, they whipping it. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important that we reach these kids early, start teaching them like you can go create a website right now. You can go to Wix, drag and drop you a website. You know what I mean? That's some of the stuff I'm coaching my son now, and they got a team. I'm having my boys build website. They 16, build a website. You know what I mean? And then we're gonna put together a reel. You're gonna shop your reel if you're trying to really go play college basketball, et cetera. So I think it's important, that we start reaching them early before 20, because a lot of the times by 20, so the science shows like 0 to 12 is like when that moral foundation is being built. Like, you can't reach these kids 0 to 12. It's going to be hard to change behaviors and patterns. They can happen, because it happened for me, so it's not impossible, but it's going to be more advantageous for them to really get that core messaging from 0 to 12. You know what I mean? And see the representation. Like, dang, okay, well, I've seen this brother. He actually built a tech company, or he actually, he turned what he loves. Turn this off. He turned. My bad. 1 second. Jeez. My bad. All right, where am I at? You still hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My bad. Let me pull my thing back. I lost my screen. But yeah, so basically, in regards to that, just reaching them early. I'm sorry, I kind of threw my train of thought off, but basically teaching them earlier, like, okay, this is how you can position yourself. If you are seeing representation, and if you know how to properly activate your, device, your internet to generate revenue for you. I mean, because there's kids you see all the time, like there's kids with brands, like, there's a lot of people you don't know. I mean, you could be bringing in, you know, even if you're bringing in 1,000 a month just on like a drop shipping t-shirt website or whatever it is, like there's different things out there. So I think it's important. Only thing I would add to that is like, hey, that 0 to 12, you know, on that Q1, let's really start reaching them with those, you know, important messages with, you know, the financial things about and I would say also the morals of, you know, being a, you know, a man of integrity, a man of respect, of how, you know, stuff I'm dealing with my son. Like, listen, you have to, you know, be honest. You have to be truthful. You, like you said, you have to work hard. These are things that they need to hear and see. And I think that's a part of that Q1 that you already talking about, but definitely reaching them that Q1. So by the time they hit Q2, a lot of that foundation is solid and they kind of ahead of the game. Simple stuff like, for example, my son is 16, doing some research about credit and different things like that. Like, I got him on my credit card, one of my credit cards, because it's going to give him credit history. It's going to give him, you know, over the next 2 years. So by the time he's 18 and now, he should have a 700-800 or something, and he'll have a couple of years of credit history under his belt. You know what I mean? Stuff that they're looking for. So I think that's part of them systems that you were talking about. So I like it. And I like the fact that they're tying in swag, because at the end of the day, what you were talking about earlier, like with the culture, it's like swag and the culture is really what pushes, you know what I'm saying, the youth. What's cool to them is like, you know, that's what they're going to navigate, move towards. So if you can have that swag, if we can make, you know, being smart look cool, we can make being a father, you know, to your children look cool. If we can make respecting our women look cool, you know what I mean, then that's when you're like, man, you know, hey, this is what it is. And so I think a lot of that's happening, but now it's like we can amplify that, you know, as we move forward.
Yeah, I definitely want to respect your time. So we're close to wrapping up. One thing that you said here I really love is representation. It matters. Young men need to see people like you being successful, doing something positive. Because as young men, if you think back, you were just looking for a way to be successful. That's what we all want in life. You know, we all want, you know, we have certain ambitions, dreams, and goals, aspirations, things that we want to see happen in our lives. And so we look outside of ourselves to find representatives that we can model after. And so in our communities, when it comes to the things that we want, the money, the house, the clothes, the cars, it's only represented to us through hip hop and through, you know, gangster lifestyle and things like that. The more our children are able to see, you know, good men who have what they want, it gives them that incentive to live life differently. And so I think that's a great thing. You talked about getting to the kids early. You said that there's a program that teachers can integrate into their classrooms. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So right now, so we have our website. If you just go to healthy.hiphop, there's no .com, just healthy.hiphop. This is where educators can log in and have access to our content or educational resources that can really help kind of bring culture to the classroom and help improve like focus and engagement. So right now, a lot of it's movement based. So for example, a teacher will start their day, they'll pull up healthy hip hop and kids will get up and like do these kind of this guided dance, like do some movement to get their day started. They'll also do like morning energizers and affirmations, because there's studies that show when kids get physically active and get up and moving, like during or before learning, it helps improve that focus and retention. Right. And then also they'll do it throughout the day for like brain boosters. So kids, you know, they come back from lunch, they rest, okay, let's move. And then, okay, we'll get right into the lesson plan. So it's more of kind of like a curriculum support right now, using dance and movement through healthy hip hop. And our roadmap, we're rolling out more like focused educational content that's around like literacy, you know, teaching kids about vocabulary and comprehension through hip hop and music. You think about the Dr. Seuss, you know, you could probably, you know, the Cat in the Hat and rhyming words and stuff like that. So we got kids who are not reading on grade level, but put on their favorite rap artist, they can repeat that word for word, right? So tapping into that. So that's kind of the roadmap for that. So educators right now can go log in and use that for free. Parents can use it for free also. We will have a brand new version. Right now, we have about 6,000 active users. We still consider this a public beta. So we're tweaking it, but this upcoming fall is when we're going to have our official launch. So to be new content, new functionality, etc. And then for parents, you know, they can download the app, just search Health Hip Hop in the App Store, download the app, and you get access to, you know, all of our music content, and you can create these TikTok style videos within our platform.
That's an awesome thing, man. That's an awesome thing. Hey, everyone who's tuning in, I need you to do me a favor. Go and download the app. Healthy Hip Hop. We want to support Brother Scott and what he's got going on. It's an amazing thing. He's accomplished a lot, but he still needs our help. He still needs our support. We got to get this message, out mainstream. You do have a character, PJ Panda.
Yep. Yeah.
What's going on with PJ?
Yeah, so it's crazy actually how the story, unfolded on that is, so I kind of talked about how the Shark Tank incident and how we basically just, got really screwed around on that. But then I had to pivot and figure out, okay, how are we gonna get to this next level? And so I kind of mentioned also in that story about the watch and walk before Mickey, and it talked about his entrepreneurial journey. So I knew at that point I was like, man, we really need like our flagship character. I want our Mickey. And so what happened after that is I got to grind and got in the tech space, really learning that side of it. And I was taking some trips to the West Coast and working with this one gentleman, and he was like, man, we're going to the West Coast meeting with some music producers and executives. And so when I was out there, he's like, man, you got to meet this guy. He was saying he might have something that, could probably gel with healthy hip hop, what you're doing. So I was in LA, told him what we're doing, healthy hip hop. He's like, well, this guy I'm mentoring, his name is Wes Smith. He created this character. I mean, he literally was just about to roll it out. His name was PJ Panda. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, I think it could be a good fit. You probably need to check it out. It might be, might be a good look. I'm like, bet. And so long story short, I kept hitting him up like, what's going on? And he finally sent me a link to the music. And as soon as I heard the music, I was like, oh man, it was dope. So I always had like an ear for like music. I know, what time it is, like what's dope and et cetera. So heard the music. I was like, man, this music is dope. He still didn't actually make the connection. So I actually hunted Wes down on Instagram, found him on Instagram, and then just basically pitched him on the idea. I said, listen, man, I love what you're doing with PJ. And he was in the space of really getting PJ off the ground on YouTube and different stuff like that. And I was like, well, imagine us so we're on these different platforms, right? Even as music artists, there's a disconnect between like the music industry and the tech industry. That's why if you put an album out, you'll get 0.005 cents a stream or something, right? So I'm like, imagine if we own the platform. Imagine if we create the technology and we own the tech. And that would always been my mindset is like, how do we now become owners of the tech? Instead of just consumers, how do we become the creators? And so he was like, man, he's like, okay, yeah. He's like, dang, he's like, I like that. It makes sense. So I started contracting with him at first, doing some music, partnering up. And then eventually, he bought into becoming a co-founder of the company. And we ended up building some other characters around PJ. We have Princess Panda. We have Leo the Lion. We got Hip and Hop, which is like a hippo and a frog. We got OG, the original gorillas. I mean, like it's a whole story like behind it too. And so, yeah, man. So that's how PJ kind of came to light. And and at the time, and so also part of that is at the time, when we bounced from Shark Tank, got bounced. My business partner at the time, he wasn't able to, bounce with it. And so basically he kind of, left, and I was like, it's all good. I had to keep going. And then I ended up, as I kept on the journey, connected with my new co-founder, and there's so much stuff happened that like getting into Techstars, getting the Google for Black Founders Fund, really understanding the business. So it really was like a crash course. I had to really learn quite a bit on how we're going to get ourselves in position to scale. But that's how PJ came along, man, and ended up being like one of my best friend and my brother. So really solid dude. And so, man, it all worked out.
Perfect. Well, man, I appreciate you taking out a little bit of your time to get your message out in front of my listeners. Everybody who's tuning in, we definitely want to support healthy hip hop. Turn it on in your car, turn off that trash. Don't have your kids listening to Meg the Stallion and whoever else getting all those bad messages. Healthy hip hop, like I said, the music is awesome. I was riding around listening to it as a grown man and didn't even catch it until I heard Humpty Dumpty. So that's to let you know the quality right
Humpty
there.
Dumpty slapping though, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. But any last words, any last comments or things that you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah, just want to again say thank you for having me. Once again, we are still we have our campaign out there to raise capital to where now you can become a shareholder. You can have ownership in healthy hip hop starting at $100. So invest, share with your people, be a part of this because we will become the urban Disney. And this is an investment you do not want to miss because not only investing in, a high return financially, but investing in a brighter future for our children.
Most definitely. And again, keep looking out. We're always going to be putting out good content, introducing you to people in the community who are really doing things that are important and that are affecting the next generation. We've got some big things going on behind the scenes. We're going to be making some announcements next week, but I do want you all to know that we have solidified our event space for the Men and Boys in the Park event, August 7th. And so, Roy, definitely we're going to be playing some healthy hip hop out there. We're going to be keeping it clean, but it's going to be banging. And so if you're available that weekend, we definitely want to have you a part of that. And also, I've already got some comments here. We're on a couple different platforms. For those of you who don't know, you can go to youtube.com, check out Elevating Men. You can see our past replays, as well as this show, the Elevating Men Facebook page. You can always go to my page at A.L. Johnson. But we're going to be making some announcements on that, so be looking out for it. It's Men and Boys Day in the Park. It's going to be an awesome event. We're going to get men together. We're going to change the narrative. It's going to take some time, so bear with us, but we're going to change the narrative. And so I appreciate each and every last one of you. Brother Scott, thank you for taking this time out of your day. We appreciate you. And you have my word as on behalf of Elevating Men, my insurance agency, A.L. Johnson Life Insurance Agency. We will definitely be investing in healthy hip hop. We want to be a part of that. And so I definitely appreciate what you're doing. But everyone, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be back at you. Have a good day.